I'll try and see if I can do this in the amount of time that we've got, but I wanted you all to take out your phones, because I'm sure you're looking at your phones or you're on the computer or screen while you're listening to this at the same time, and quickly answer some of these questions for me. So I'm going to take a minute per question. So do you find that you cannot give a clear answer when asked what discipline you work in? I found this as a PhD student, and when I finished, when somebody asked me, "What are you?" I'm thinking, am I a microbiologist? Am I a peptide scientist? What am I exactly? So these polls are still going to be open if you're on the Slido page, but hopefully it will help people kind of think about what this is looking like whenever they're asked what they're doing. So my next question then is, how do you personally define transdisciplinarity in your own work or environment? You've heard today from Paul as well as Will about how they define transdisciplinarity, what they see it as. It can be a couple of words, it can be one word. Just check and see if anybody's got any answers for me before I move on to the next slide. Okay, somebody said working with stakeholders, somebody said delivery on synergy. So hopefully this can start to help us together to think about what transdisciplinarity means for each person, and if we can start to draw common themes, and this will allow us in our conversations. And then my other question, okay, this might take you a little while to answer. So how can networks like FAN, or Features AMR Network, or TARGetAMR, who is hosting this conference, or Impact AMR, or Climber, or some of the other networks which we've talked about today, some of them not part of these particular transdisciplinary networks, but are also existing AMR networks. How can they help to better support this messy situation? You can give us an example from your own time, or a step that you've taken yourself to be able to achieve this. And that will bring me to my talk, which is, the polls are still open if you want to have fun writing more responses. And this brings me to Features AMR Network, which is a grounds-up approach, in my opinion, of tackling antimicrobial resistance and from the eyes of ECRs. Okay. So if we are talking about transdisciplinary problems like AMR, earlier Paul mentioned the fact that AMR is a wicked problem, and he's defined that really well. But if we're going to solve this problem in an organized manner, then we need to, as we've been talking about, encourage transdisciplinary working, but also we need to feature-proof the solutions that we're making. And at the heart of that is we need to think about how we redesign ECR training and support in order to be able to deliver on this. And this will include things like personalized enablers for ECRs, not just box standard things. I wanted to take a quote from a paper that was shared by Will when he was giving us the brief for this. I've rephrased the quote just for AMR, and it's from this paper where they talk about wicked problems and training wicked scientists to be able to deal with them. And if we're truly going to address a grand problem like antimicrobial resistance, then we have to change how we educate ECRs, how we support them. And we need to not be training them as experts only in their field, but also helping them to build professional and interpersonal skills that will allow them to be able to collaborate. I saw a lot of you wrote collaborate, synergy, stakeholders in that definition of your transdisciplinarity. Well, this is where Features AMR Network hopes to make a difference in the life of ECRs. This is an ECR-led transdisciplinary network to track AMR. What that means is that majority of us are ECR leads, apart from one, and then we have a lot of our membership are ECR members as well. And we hope to harness young talent to provide solutions to antimicrobial resistance challenge. The key words for us is connecting people, expanding our communities, and supporting those in these early career stages, but also wanting to be an inclusive and equitable and cohesive environment. And we want to try and deliver support and mentorship for this cohort of people, because we feel like they hold the key to advancing transdisciplinarity within the field. So we're here to build the next generation of AMR leaders, and we hope that you can kind of join us in this approach. So the core team are all of the people that you see on the screen from different universities, and from very different varying disciplines. And on the right there, you would see our network manager, Dr. Prachi Bendali, who you would be receiving a lot of emails from if you were a member of the network. And we do have quite a lot of partners that we work with. What we offer is in 5 strands, and this includes mentorship and training. It includes lots of targeted different training schemes, AMR solutions, which include small pots of money or sandpit sessions for AMR ideas development. We're also building an AMR blueprint team where we're looking for ECR perspectives on what should be changing and what should be happening in the AMR space. And then we have a lot of member events and engagement. If you want to become a fan, you can sign up using that, or you can just find us on our website at futuresamr.co.uk. You can also sign up to be a part of a work strand and get really involved in this, because you have to get involved to help with this transdisciplinarity. So how are we seeing things differently, and how can ECR see things differently? Some of you may have seen a couple of these slides from another talk that I gave, but I thought that this is quite adaptable. So ECRs are very fluid in the way that they work currently. The way that someone did a PhD many years ago is very different from the way someone does a PhD now. You could start in microbiology, but actually you end up doing a lot of things in computer science or in physics or in behavioral science, as we've been hearing earlier. I have one PhD student, for instance, who is doing work on understanding antimicrobial usage among companion animals, but their project is divided into 3 parts. One where they're involved with stakeholder and focus groups, the other one where they are collecting fecal samples from both the animals and the owners to try and understand any evolutionary transmission of antimicrobial resistance shared between these groups. And then they're looking at a whole communication piece around this, working with the government here to look at policies. So you can see how a PhD student can go from lab to bench, and that's very interesting. And these ECRs bring fresh perspectives. They are adaptable. Hopefully, a lot of them are very risk-taking, and I keep trying to tell them, stay on track first before you do that. And ECRs have a lot of skills, including coding, communication, analysis, and a lot of them do know how to collaborate. So they hold the key for transdisciplinarity in my position. In my opinion. Well, how can we help them deliver this? How can they deliver this? And one of the things I keep saying is that we need to start to think outside the box and question outdated methods, question the norm. Do we have to stay in the lab, or can we change the way we do things? Do we have to have a career in only science and research in the lab, or can we think about careers outside of this space to influence policy, for instance? How are we using data? We've talked about this today already, but at the same time, how are we communicating that data? A lot of ECRs are on social media all the time, so this might be helpful. One key way that I wanted to say that we do it in the Futures AMR network is that we want to try and encourage ECRs to seek funding for bold, cross-disciplinary, transdisciplinary ideas. And so I would like to take this opportunity to talk about this new transdisciplinary call to tackle antimicrobial resistance that the UKRI has released. Now, the expression of interest for this call is on June 18th, and the final submission is on 23rd of September. What we are doing at Futures AMR Network is that we're encouraging ECR members to put forward bold ideas. Okay, so we will be doing sandpit sessions, and we hope that through these we can build transdisciplinarity. And these sessions are going to be 4 sessions, all held in the month of July, beginning from next week. And these will be between 12 noon in the morning. 12 noon in the afternoon and 1:30 p.m. If you want to sign up, there's a QR code, but there's also a link. And some of this information will be going on the website now. And if you're a member, you would have already received some of this information. And we're hoping that the very first event will involve stakeholders. We have 3 stakeholder units from the Public Health Agency, as well as from Scottish Water and some other agents, to come and tell us what they think their perspective is on how we can tackle antimicrobial resistance. And we will give opportunity for ECRs to tell us their ideas, and we will hopefully the whole point of this is to co-develop a set of strong transdisciplinary proposals that reflect the collective strengths of our network. And we want these ideas to be specially led by ECR members. Remember, though, that our network also has a lot of senior partners and experts, and they are there to really support these ideas and build this. So that brings me to the challenge that I have for you today. What one collaboration would you like to start today, if you could? If you have one, take one immediate step towards that transdisciplinary collaboration, because the creation of 1,000 forests is in 1 acre. And I will leave you with this, and you have all our contact details on the screen. And if you have time, you can go and answer the last question on the slide. Or let me see if I can get that one up. I'm not sure why my screen, yes, why my screen is done that, but I just go back to my last slide and present that to you while the question time is going. So a final question. Hope that comes up. Yes, it's coming. Okay, I think that's me.